Well, Apple shit the bed today, as many of you have probably found out. Wow, my lens is really hazy. That's the negative. The lenses stick out the backside of the camera, which means they get all hazy. But it is 6:30 almost, and I'm just getting to the Big Sur update. Now, that's not true. I've been trying to do it all day when I have time, but this is the first time it's actually working. So they released this thing at like 10 o'clock. It didn't show up in my system preferences update window, software update window until, I don't know, 11 or something maybe. And then I tried to download and it was going crazy slow. It wanted 2 days. It was about 10 megabytes every 5 minutes. And then it failed and gave an error message, and everybody was getting the error message. And then it got all the way to the end. It said 12.18. And yes, it's 12.18 gigabytes for an operating system now. It's insanity. Got all the way to the end, it said 12.18 of 12.18, sat there for like 15 minutes with that much left in the progress bar, then came back and said failed to download or failed to install or whatever that error message we all got was, which was super frustrating. Then the whole system got really, really laggy and locked up, and launching an application, I'm not exaggerating here like I usually do, it was about 4 minutes. It was 4 minutes to launch a third-party application, a non-native application. So it turns out there was some update thing it was trying to validate. It was the wrong server, and it was just chewing all the system resources, and rebooting didn't work. You had to disable the Wi-Fi, and then I did something that made it stop doing that. But Apple has not bungled a software update like this in years. In fact, the last one I can remember was maybe 2014, 2015. They released an iOS update that disabled Wi-Fi, which was a big problem. But this year, it took them, it's now 6:30, so about 8 hours to correct it. Then it downloaded pretty quickly, and now it's in the reboot process. You know, it'll do that a couple times at once, 24 minutes. So I'm actually a little bit excited about Big Sur, fresh UI. It kind of feels like with iOS 14 on my iPad and iPhone, and then Apple WatchOS 7 on the Apple Watch, it felt like Catalina was just a generation back. And it is. You know, the design, the UI, the language, the whole theme and feel, and then like the messages application, you couldn't pin context, which I've now gotten used to. So now it finally feels good. It will finally feel good, assuming this works, to catch up and kind of come up to the same generation on all software levels. Canon's coming back. I hear the M3 out there. We've got a lot of grocery shopping to do. So we're going to go do that and then eat. It doesn't look too bad. It's mostly just, I don't know why there's 2 open lemonades. That's frustrating. But we're going to clean out the fridge, get a bunch of stuff, and then eat. I don't know if the lighting over here translates to video, but these low sodium lights are like 2200 Kelvin. They're horrible. When you park a car under it, silver still looks kind of silver, but silver stone or red, like we had a Ferrari over at a parking lot like this once, it just looked putty gray. It's terrible. I don't know why they use those. The LEDs are much nicer.
Well, I'm used to being off. It's fine. Hello.
How was it?
Not bad.
Not bad?
Not bad.
Not good.
Well, when I prepare something, you can't just say, this is the best steak I ever had that I prepared myself. No, it's pretty good.
Good. I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. Keep me posted.
All right, so it's Thursday night, laundry night. This is like load number 3. It takes forever. Highlights today, we're getting the E60 started. That was number 1. So the black car manual conversion, today's the first time that engine ran, as far as I know, in over 4 years. So I went through a checklist of correct engine oil type, correct engine oil level, coolant, power steering fluid, brake fluid. Am I missing a fluid? Feels like I'm missing a fluid. No, you know, the normal stuff. Make sure all the plugs and coils are attached or are hooked up and solid. The plugs have already been replaced since the car sat. And then the next thing I wanted to do was unplug the fuel pump relay so we could let the starter motor cycle the engine over at a couple hundred RPM and just get some oil flowing and some lubrication happening. So I went to NewTIS, I looked up the wiring diagram for the fuel pump, found the relay. It was KJ49 or K49 or something like that on the diagram. I looked it up, it's in the glove box back behind the little tray where the CD changer would be, and it's the one on the left. So I disconnect that. I have Kenan standing there with a fire extinguisher in case things go horribly awry. And we crank the engine and it starts and it runs. It's like, what the hell? I looked up the fuel pump relay. This is what it said. I unplugged it and it still starts and runs. Well, okay. So it was pretty hesitant to start. It was loud. There's no exhaust on the car from the headers back. Obviously that's why it's so loud. There's no back pressure either, so that's kind of why it doesn't run very well, and it hasn't run for 4 years. So it was hesitant to start even with a new battery. Seeing that it hasn't run in 4 years, I think that's probably best case scenario. That's the most we could have hoped for. It sounded fine. No error messages outside of brake, ABS, DSC, which are codes, triggering those lights. It's one code, it's the steering angle sensor. We're gonna have to deal with that more tomorrow. I think tomorrow the plan is gonna be start the car and drive it around the shop parking lot, around the complex, not too far. See if we can wear some of that rust off the rotors, for one. See if, number two, when the speed sensors all report their values to the DSC module, maybe the steering angle sensor wakes up again. See if those lights go off or the code disappears. If not, we'll proceed with a steering angle sensor cleaning. If that doesn't work, we'll move on to the full replacement of the sensor. And then last case scenario would be the entire SCL module. So definitely progress made today. That engine's gonna need some more time and some very, very gentle warm-ups back to life. I mean, 4 years. If you put me in the bed for 4 years, I wouldn't be happy about getting out of it either. So that was the big pro today. Nextly was Big Sur. That is installed. It seemed to have gone well. No error messages so far. I had to update a ton of apps after the installation. It makes sense. It's a new operating system. It's 11.0, 11.0.1 actually, versus like 10.16. They ran that 10 thing for 16 years. It's nuts. So far, so good. You know, I've only used it for about an hour. It's different. It feels different. It feels newer. But like I said before, it actually feels like it matches iOS 14 now. It's kind of the latest version of Apple design and Apple aesthetic. So we'll talk more about it later if there's any good or any bad. But definitely the Photos app, like Photos.app, feels way faster. Bobby pointed that out to me. I opened it, it boom, opened up. I'm cycling through pictures and albums, and it's really, really, really zippy, and I appreciate that. So that's cool to see that they can actually make something faster. With that, I'm gonna do more laundry and then get to bed here very shortly. We had an awesome dinner tonight. We had some steak, broccoli, bread, the usual. Quick drink, and off we go on Thursday night. So I'll talk to you guys on Friday. Good night.